I've been in this industry for so long. The reason why people love a certain artist is because of their distinct character or their uniqueness that they bring to the table and to the industry. So I think, yeah, even if they feel like they're not special enough, or oh, I'm Asian, or I'm from Korea, or I'm from India, maybe it's hard for me. I think the more unique you are, the higher chance you have in making it. So just embrace and feel proud of your upbringing and your background, because that is your story to tell the world.
Hi, my name is Riddhi Chakraborty. I'm a senior writer and producer with Rolling Stone India. Today, I had the loveliest conversation with Korean American singer Kevin Wu. We talked about the globalization of K-pop, his love for fashion, the future of concerts in a post-COVID world, and his passion for Bollywood. So, how are you doing? How's your day been going?
It's been going great. The weather's been really great in Korea. I've been enjoying, just the beautiful weather, going outdoors, getting some exercise. So how are you? Thank you for having me on Rolling Stones India.
No, absolutely. It is our pleasure to have you because, I feel this is something a lot of, new K-pop fans, I think I want them to discover you. You know what I mean? I want them to know
Hmm.
about you. And especially in
Thank you.
India, yeah, because I mean, a lot of the fans in India are very, very new to the scene. So I really want them to get an idea of not just you as an artist, but also what the
Hmm.
industry is like and the identity you're carving for yourself, not just like with UKISS, but also
Hmm.
for you.
As a solo artist, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Would you like introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you started your journey into music? Like, how did you know this was the path for you?
Sure. Well, hello, Rolling Stones India. This is Kevin Wu. You may know me from my group, UKISS, which I debuted in 2008. And right now, I am a solo artist, currently based in Seoul, Korea. And ever since, I've been touring in Japan, releasing music internationally, also wrapped up a US tour last year. And yeah, I've been very active. But this year's been a weird year for me. I'm sure it's been a weird year for everyone. So right now, I've been taking the time to spend more time writing music and spending time in the studio to get ready for a new chapter in my life.
Oh, that's awesome. How has the quarantine been treating you? Meaning the like from the beginning and everything. What have you been doing? Like, what are some activities that have kept you busy?
Yeah, well, like I said, this pandemic has had a huge impact on everyone's lives. And once Corona hit, I first I was kind of confused. I didn't know how long it would last. So I was like, okay, we might be indoors and kind of restricted to do normal activities for a few months, but then who knew it would, be this long. So I've been active on social media. It's something that, I wanted to connect with the fans and have an engagement, since that's the best place to stay connected. So I've been working on my Instagram, my TikTok, YouTube, um, and I've been doing this series called like Kevin's Kitchen for the past few months, and I had a really great time um, showing fans how to make Korean food and other foods that I enjoy cooking.
In terms of like fashion, how do you think like Korean fashion, especially, I think in India as well, we're seeing this trend where a lot of young people are adopting the styles and things like that. So like, with your experience as a fashion icon, like how has it been for
Thank
you
you.
breaking into this industry?
For Korean fashion, yeah, it is really, really like it's grown so much over the past years. I think Koreans have always had a great fashion sense when it comes to fashion, and especially with K-pop. That's how K fashion, not only just fashion, but K beauty, everything about taking care of your appearance. I think Korea has really taken the lead.
What was like a moment for you where you felt you sort of like um, sort of realized what your style was? You know what I mean? Like where you realized like this is who I am in terms of what I
Mm-hmm.
wear and how I express myself. Was there like a moment in your life or a particular age or something where you had like, yeah, this is me?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think I started to find my own style, my fashion sense after I debuted in UKIS. Before that, like when I was in middle school or high school, I didn't express myself with fashion. I was definitely one of those kids at school who just wanted to blend in, didn't want to be too flashy or express myself too much or stand out. I don't know why. I think it was I was discovering who I was then. But then once I debuted in K-pop and we started to wear a lot of different styles, every comeback was a different concept. In K-pop,
Yeah.
there's every group has an overall image, like the group's concept, but then each song has a really cool, unique style to it. So definitely with UKISS, there were so many styles that we challenged and tried. Maybe some of them weren't my proudest moments. But I think because I tried so many hairstyles and different fashions, I did slowly get to find um, my most confident style, which was something that is like for me, since I know my body figure, I'm very slim, and I'm more on the skinnier side. So I like to wear styles that are more loose. But then I also like my I can't. I mean, it's weird to say I'm on my own, but like my skinny, like slim, long legs are a strong trait that I've embraced.
Yeah, you should
When
be
I was younger, I
confident.
didn't
Yeah.
really like it, but but I've learned to embrace those parts of me, and like maybe skinny jeans or wearing, some colors. Like I really like black and white, which I'm wearing right now,
Yeah.
and I also like pastel tones that complement my skin very well. So I think something that is a bit more dandy, simple, like minimalistic, but also it can also be sophisticated. That's kind of like my favorite style.
I also wanted to talk to you about your music because I know that you are going to be releasing a single sometime very soon. So, like,
Hmm.
can you, share a couple of details about that? Give us, maybe a bit of a scoop or
A
something,
spoiler.
a little bit of a spoiler.
Yeah, well, I'm still finding a date to release, but I definitely have a lot of music prepared that I've been preparing, throughout these past months in quarantine. But it's a style that I can't give away too much, but it will be a style that my fans haven't really seen from me yet. I mentioned this in a lot of my interviews where I've wanted to kind of um, like transition from that idol image to more of a solo artist. And it's finding yourself and discovering you as an artist. Well, it's like a lifelong journey. Like we always discover new parts of ourselves. We can never say like, oh, this is me and this will always be me. I think we're always evolving. And I think as an artist, that is so important, um, especially with trying new music and new styles. But for me, after I left the group, I've tried a lot of different genres, but I think my new music, I think it'll be something that, you know, uh, it wouldn't really be like that idol image. Yeah.
This is something that I think I spoke about a similar situation with Eric Nam, where he said, like, when you sort of move on from the idol, like, the oh,
Phase. Yeah.
yeah, the phase, and how you think about the bigger audience out there. So what is
Yeah.
like a game plan that you go into it with?
Oh yeah, definitely. As an artist coming from K-pop roots, and also as you mentioned, one of my goals, my biggest goals, is to connect the world with music, and especially I have big dreams in America and expanding to the U.S. market as well. And I think it is so important for artists like me and Eric Nam, and people who have experience in both cultures to be that bridge, because we are very privileged and lucky enough to have that you know um, that those two different cultures and know those different worlds. And I think the biggest part is with lyrics. you know um, yeah, of course I believe that music has no language barrier, and that's why K-pop has grown so globally and big. It's become so recognized all over the world. Because not just the lyrics and the song, it's also with the performance and how they express the music. Because we all feel the same thing. It's through music. But I do think if you want to expand to U.S. market and other regions that aren't familiar with K-pop, definitely lyrics is an important factor.
Do you think there's ever but I'm sure, like, if you've experienced this, is there like an identity crisis between when you have to make music for the Korean audience versus when you have to make music for an American audience?
Oh yeah, definitely. For me, yeah, that's why sometimes, like, for me, when I left the group, it took a long time for me to find the right color and direction on where I want to release this music, because my audience right now mostly is K-pop fans. So I'm not and there were times where I contemplated whether to market towards those K-pop fans, or if I want to reach a new audience. But for me, I think it was important to um, keep that K-pop root, because that describes me the best, and something that I am most confident in. But also with the sound, I think I wanted to make sure everyone can kind of listen to the music and have the similar vibe and feeling as I did when I listened to it. Um, and me coming from America, I have a lot of influence with pop music, so that's why I've infused K-pop and pop together, to make sure both markets and both you know audiences can relate to it.
Did you ever have like a moment of fear before, like starting out on your own and trying something completely new? And how do you sort of conquer that fear and just go ahead with it anyway? Like, what were your motivations?
Definitely. I'd be lying if I said, like, oh no, I was so confident. No, there were of course times where there was a lot of fear on, like, how they would react to it, because it's like the music is, like, it's different from when I was in UKIS. So of course there was that, in the back of my head. I'm like, oh, what if they react differently, or maybe it'll take time for them to, you know for it to grow on them. But at the end of the day, you just gotta really you just gotta, like, be confident and release, because with music especially, it's not about trying to please the crowd or follow the trend, because at the end of the day it'll just be similar. All the music will just be one type of song or one type of um, genre. But I think, yeah, there is sometimes that fear, but then on the other hand, I want for the fans to respect and acknowledge my taste and my story behind that music, not just, oh, I've heard that on the radio somewhere, it's something similar. I want them to recognize the uniqueness of my music.
With your, experience in the industry and things like that, what is something about K-pop today, like, an evolution that's happened in the industry that you've seen and observed that you really like? What's something different that or new
Mm.
that has cropped up?
Yeah, great question. There are, many things that have changed ever since, my debut in K-pop. And one thing that I've seen, significantly grow was there was more diversity in K-pop. Whether it's the music, the visuals, and also the members in the groups. Yeah, when I first debuted, UKISS was one of the first groups to have a multi, cultured members in the group. We had Alexander, who lived in Macau. We had Eli, another American member, Korean American member. And overall, like, together we spoke around 4 to 5 languages as a group. So I think that's was our biggest advantage, into growing globally and having a global audience. But there weren't that many groups that had a global member. But then nowadays it's very common, and not just English speaking member or from America. There's members from from Japan, and also Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, like all over the world, and I think that's so cool, you know.
Yeah, have you I'm sure you know about Z-pop Dream as well, right? Like there are a couple of Indian members as well. So I think like the Indian K-pop fans and all were really excited because it was, representation in an industry that you love so much as well, which was so
Yeah,
novel for us to see. Although they're not
yeah,
technically K-pop, but it's still like pretty incredible.
yeah. I don't think a group has to be consisted of only Korean members to be K-pop. I think K-pop has grown so much, where K-pop is the genre now, you know?
There's a huge conversation happening around defining K-pop, like what is
Mhm.
K-pop and who can qualify to be in a K-pop group. So do you
Mhm.
think like it has the definition of K-pop has more to do with the training system itself, or like is someone from any country, if they want to perform like in Korean, that does that qualify as K-pop? This is like a massive debate that's happening, so I kind of just wanted
Oh,
to get
yeah.
your input on that.
That's yeah, I've seen this topic around, all everywhere, and where I stand is, yeah, I don't think you have to live in Korea or release in Korea for it to be K-pop, you know? I think yeah, of course, having the music to be in the Korean language, I think that plays a big role. Because of course it's Korean pop, so it makes sense for the music to be in Korean. But culturally, I don't think yeah, you have to be Korean for it to be K-pop. Or I think there's a K-pop style of, the performance. I think even the K fashion, K beauty, um, the music itself, because K-pop itself, yes, it was derived from Korea, but we also were very influenced by pop culture. Also, I would say Bollywood was a very big influence in K-pop, definitely. And I think K-pop, we made this genre with other cultures as well. So, I think it makes sense for other people around the world to perform and call it K-pop. Yeah.
How is Bollywood like such an influence in terms of like the performance and the dancing? Is that like the correlation?
Yeah, I think the visual, like how the colors are very vibrant, and the dance performance, and also if you see a lot of K-pop music videos, I could see there's some common like element with Bollywood and K-pop.
That's really cool. Do you like know any Indian artists? Have you seen any Indian movies? Like, what's your perception of India? Like,
No, of course I'm not the most familiar with the specific artists, but yeah, growing up in America and also like living in Korea, like I've been very familiar with the Bollywood culture. Like I've seen a few Bollywood like music videos on YouTube, which were it blew my mind. The production is just top notch. I don't think anyone could go to that level. Like it's just crazy, And I love the performance, just the energy it gives off. Um, and it really made me want to go to like Mumbai, and you
it's
know
my city. Yeah.
really, oh my
Yeah.
god, I've always wanted to go to Mumbai. And I don't know, I think it would be so cool to like be in a Bollywood music video.
Oh
Hey,
man,
we
that
can
would be
dream
amazing.
big, right?
I can hook you up actually. I can just be like, this is like Kevin Wu, he's a star, you guys. Like you just gotta take him. And you
That'd be
have the
so cool.
choreography ability down already.
Yeah. I've always wanted to wear the traditional clothes, and be the center of like 1,000 people, and just like all being in sync with the same choreo and dancing with the main lead woman, and just like and so that's so cool. Just thinking about it would be so awesome.
Oh man, when this pandemic ends, if it ever ends, please do
Yeah,
come to India,
it
and
will.
we would just love to have you and like show you around, show you our culture, and maybe even,
Mm-hmm.
meet other artists and do a couple of
Yeah,
collaborations
that'd
or
be so
something.
cool. Are there any Indian artists I should keep a lookout on? You know, if you could send me some recommendations, I would
I
love to check
will.
it out.
I will definitely send you a whole list, because I mean that's literally my job at Rolling Stone, is like, let's highlight all the
Okay,
musicians.
of course, of
So
course.
it's really cool because like I have been doing this where a lot of Korean artists who I interview, or pop artists, international artists, they'll actually, there's like such a curiosity about what India is up to in terms of music and things. So every
Yeah.
time I interview someone, it's wonderful to hear that, like, please send us, please recommend. It's like absolutely beautiful.
Of course, I see you guys on YouTube, and I've seen the videos where the K-pop artists react to the music
Ah,
videos.
thank you.
Yeah, like Eric Nam, Alexa, like they're all my friends, and like ATs, who else? There's so many K-pop artists that you guys
Yes.
have on your channel, and that's so cool because it's like connecting the two worlds.
I produced those series, so like that was my vision, I wanted to just create a bridge, because what we're hearing a lot from Indian fans is that we've just been ignored for a very long time, sadly. There's no content for us specifically. There weren't a lot of interviews with Indian publications.
Mm-hmm.
So I really wanted to create a space where, like, not just the fans but the artists are also able to learn more about us, and like make it a two-way street, rather than just like
Yeah,
one
yeah.
thing. But like, tell me, what else have you got planned, like, in terms of your music, and like, do you have an album in the works? Like, I really want to know more about um the music projects that you've been working on. Are you collabing with anybody?
Yeah, so 2020, I mean, unfortunately, it's almost over. It flew by so quickly. No, but I think it was a great time for me to, because I have such a busy lifestyle and busy schedule, it was definitely a year where I could reflect on where I want to be in the future, not just like running around and doing what I'm doing in the moment, but not just me, but like a lot of artists had a lot of time to just take time to reflect, and it was a great time for me to, you know, see where I want to be and what kind of artist I want to be, what kind of influence I want to give on my audience. And so I've incorporated that into a lot of my music, the message I want to give. So I am, there's no like set album yet because I still want to release like single by single.
Mm-hmm.
Probably album will be coming, maybe next year or 2021, 2022. Not sure yet, but definitely I want to release more music, whether that's, an EP, because a lot of artists are releasing EPs these days, like 4 or 5 tracks.
Yes.
Um, and I want to definitely connect more with my international audience. And one of the ways I've been connecting with them was through online concerts. And I think I want to definitely go on tour once, you know, the pandemic is over and we could start traveling. Um, would love to visit India. Um, there were many offers, but like I just wanted to have the right time, and go when there's a ripe time for me to perform there. So I'm sure there's an opportunity waiting around the corner.
Oh, definitely. I feel India also was sort of gearing up, because we had, like, I mean, Alexa was here last year. She came down twice to perform. Like, that's why she and I
Really?
like became friends. It was amazing.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I know her,
Wow.
and VAV had come down into it, and we had Card, and like
Oh, Card,
we
yeah, I remember Card going.
yeah. And in the beginning of this year, in February, we had Z-Pop Dream, who came down and performed at a music festival. So a
Hmm.
lot of the audience was not familiar with K-pop at all, but the reaction was phenomenal. Like, they loved it.
Oh, so it was
Oh,
they're craving for more.
absolutely. There was this demand, like, okay, we're curious now. So we had, like, the K-pop companies also getting curious, like, okay, like,
Mhm.
should we, start like looking at India as a destination?
Yeah.
And sadly, when the pandemic happened, that kind of, shot that horse in the face.
Yeah.
But I feel like this kicked off this time, like exactly like you said, there's a right time for everything. And I
Mhm.
feel now we'll have a bit of like a buffer to prepare, for you guys,
Yeah,
like
and
to.
now there's more interest online, and I think there's creating a hype, on through the streaming, platforms and also YouTube. So I think because there's this buffer, once traveling is open, I think that's when that it'll be a great time.
Yeah, we'll be ready for you. Yeah.
Yeah. I
I
would love to do a fan meet or a concert or even go on a festival, a music festival in India and represent K-pop.
Definitely. I really wanted to also talk to you about, because you have such a massive career in Japan, which is so cool and
Yeah,
so interesting. My best friend just moved to Japan. So, like, I know
really.
she also wants to, get a bit of an idea of, like, what was your journey like when you first, like, went to Japan and started your career there? So,
Yeah.
can you tell me a little bit about that part of your career?
So when I was promoting a new Kiss, we also had a Japanese agency, and we promoted a lot in Japan while we were promoting in Korea. So it was basically like half of our time in Japan, half of our time in Korea. And but we were so like grateful to have a great response in Japan, and we started to promote a lot in Japan. And after I left the group, I actually moved to Japan for around 2 years and kickstarted my solo career in Japan first, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the reason why I moved to Japan, and then I've done a Japanese tour nationwide. And I think Japan is such a interesting and unique market, because you know J-pop and K-pop, they I mean, I think it was J-pop first, but then we were heavily influenced by the J-pop and idol culture, and we both grew. But then it ended up growing like similar at first, like the idol groups. But
Yeah.
then we both found like the two respective genres found their own color,
Mm.
and now it's so different. uh, and me being a K-pop artist, but also performing in Japanese and also being a J-pop artist as well. That was also a very interesting journey for me.
One of
Mhm.
my favorite tracks that you've done recently, and that was with James Lee, Falling. I love that song so
Oh,
much.
thank
And
you.
like, I know we didn't get to talk like before this, so I really wanted to tell you that was something so different from you and from him. And I really enjoyed watching you guys work on something together.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, James Lee is one of my best friends, and we were talking about doing a collab for so long, and finally last summer, we got to release it, and we actually went on tour together in America.
That's awesome. Will we see, like, any more, collabs with, friends of yours? How do you choose which friend, like, you want to work with, like, who's right for, a certain track? How does
Yeah,
that happen?
I mean, I don't think there's like any way to like choose or like I think it's always very organic. It's like we just talk about it, and there's a song that we both like, and we're like, oh, what if your voice was in this part? And it's just like a natural progress, not like, oh, I call a friend like, let's do a collab. It's something like it has to happen over time.
Mhm. Who's
Yeah.
someone that you like really want to work with, like, even like, your friends, people, who's someone that you like think, like, in the future we might see something you and them do, like, who's something you still,
Well,
like.
I really love Jamie's voice. Yeah, she goes by Jamie now, but she was like Jimin from, I hosted after school club with her, and she is such a talented artist. I really like, you know enjoyed watching her grow as an artist as well, because I've known her for so many years now, and she's like my little sister. But like as an artist, she's grown so much, and she's tried so many different things. And right now I think she's found her color, and I'm always supporting her. And we've never actually done a like a legit collab together, we've done a cover together on my YouTube channel, and that response was massive. So a lot of fans are anticipating a collab from us, and we are also talking about it too. So I would love to collab with Jamie.
Like in terms of genres or new things that you want to try, what's like something really crazy that no one would expect that you kind of wish that you really want to do, you know?
Ooh, huh? Maybe like a rock ballad.
Mm.
Because they've always, because I think my fans have always expected, or has known me as a dance singer, and like pretty upbeat, like bright, or something more of like R&B. But like if I did something like a rock ballad, like playing a guitar and like something a bit more emotional, I think fans would be like, ooh, kind of surprised. Which I think why Falling was a bit of a
Yeah.
surprise for some fans,
Hmm.
because
And
that was a more like a rock ballad, uh, feel to it.
like you were saying, there's so many things you were exploring throughout this time, and you like whether it's like cooking, whether it's like TikTok and social media and things like
Yeah,
that,
or like fashion and online
everything.
concert.
Everything.
Yeah.
And you know what's something that you still feel that you haven't tried yet that you would like to, you know, try out? Because I read somewhere that you wanted to maybe try out acting at some point. Is that still a
Ooh,
dream that you want to, you know, like sort of explore?
definitely, definitely. I've had experience in musical stages in Korea and Japan, and I fell in love with musicals. I absolutely love performing on a musical stage. Also, I've never been in like a full-on drama production or a movie before, but that is also one of my dreams that I want to fulfill. I've been taking acting classes and I've been
Oh,
auditioning actively. So yeah, I think one of these days, if I really, put my effort into it and stay consistent, I think there will be a chance for me sometime, somewhere. Who knows? But
have you ever had a moment where like a fan, like you know, like a fan has told you like it means a lot to sort of be represented or to see themselves in you?
yeah, I've seen so many like comments, and like because I do a lot of engagement on social media, and there's always fans from all over the world who say like say thank you for being like my role model, and they're Asian or they live in America, but they've never like dreamed of going to another country to pursue their dreams. But when they see me do that, it gives them hope and motivation. And when I say that, I'm so touched. Like I didn't realize I had an impact on these kids, but once I knew that, like it made me work even harder. And like, oh, I like, yeah, sometimes it's hard for me, but like, you know, I should never give up because there's there's people who look up to me.
Now that so many, you know, Indian people as well are seeing like not just the K-pop stars but like also like, you know, Indian pop artists are being influenced, and it's all like sort of rising together. What's like a
Hmm.
message that you would like to give to upcoming artists, you know, who are dreaming to be in the same space that you are in right now, the same platforms that you are at? Like what's something that you would say to them?
Yeah, well, first of all, if they want to be artists, I know they're um, like I know for me when I was growing up, I lacked confidence on who I was because I always felt like I had to be like someone, or like, oh, he's really cool, I want to be like him. But then as I've been in this industry for so long, the reason why people love a certain artist is because of their distinct character or their uniqueness that they bring to the table and to the industry. So I think, yeah, even if they feel like they're not special enough, or oh, I'm Asian, or I'm from Korea, or I'm from India, maybe it's hard for me. I think the more unique you are, the higher chance you have in making it. So just embrace and feel proud of your upbringing and your background, because that is your story to tell the world.
Is there like,
Yeah.
you know, a particular message that you would like to say to your Indian fans specifically?
A message, of course. Well, I've never met my Indian fans in person, and I want to thank them so much for all of their support ever since You Kiss, and even till now as a solo artist. Um, like I want to remind you guys that you guys aren't forgotten or neglected, because there's such a big audience in India for me too. So I want to appreciate the support that you guys have given me. And I think since we see so much growth in like the globalization and with different cultures, I do see a future with K-pop and Bollywood. And um, I want you guys to continue to raise your voices for your love for K-pop, so that day could come. It's you guys who are raising your voices online, and you guys have to continue to show that support, so that more collaborations with K-pop and Indian artists can happen, and more concerts in India can happen. So I want you guys to continue to show your love for K-pop, not just me, but for all of K-pop.